Well, a very good morning and welcome back to, or I should say good afternoon. It's the Junior World Championships in Planica in Slovenia. The women's 20k mass start for the under-23s is completed, and we're now waiting for the start of the men's. Planica just up the road from Kranjska Gora, deep in the Julian Alps. It is one of the most stunning venues that winter sport goes to. Bled, of course, a venue that's well known for both rowing and biathlon. And the mountains around here, just under that 2,500 metre mark. Plenty of snow at the top, not so much lower down. Alpine skiing, cross-country of course, mountaineering, biathlon, everything available in this part of the world. And if it floats your boat, a little bit of ski jumping as well. Planica, world famous for its ski jump, and I'm sure some of you have seen coverage of the events there. The ski flying, the world record now standing at a stunning 253.5 meters. Stefan Kraft on fire when he produced that back in 2017. Well, it's all about cross country this afternoon, and it's the 20k mass start freestyle race. That's the skating technique, and the temperatures at 9 degrees. I have seen more than one athlete whipping off their top and then putting the race bib over the top. They are going short sleeves this afternoon. It is so warm and the sun belting down on the precious snow. The tracks are going to take a bit of a hammering today. They've done an incredibly good job to get them laid out. You can see on the north side of the valley there is just nothing left. Yeah, you're going to get more than your fair share of flesh, I think, this afternoon. They may start with the headbands, but if yesterday's races are anything to go by, they will be off before you know it. Well, here's the start list. Remy Baudin for France at the top is the man who will get it underway. Mjuk, who has already got golds from the last two World Championships, Junior World Championships. Can he make it 3 out of 3? Antila certainly worth watching for Finland. Starting number 12, Carolo, who didn't do bad in the 10 free in Whistler last year. Certainly worth keeping your eye on. And further down the start list, generally, these guys have less FIS points or a lower score. Gabriel Gledhill, a newcomer to the British team. Be interesting to see how he gets on. Logan Moore goes for USA, wearing bib number 50. He should be able to improve on that number as he works his way round. Lars Young-Vick for Australia. We've got Walker Bruce also from the other side of the planet. Welcome to them, and looking forward to seeing how they get on. And then Slimman and Cruikshank in the British junior team. Yeah, this is going to be a learning experience for them, I feel. And they're a long way back from those at the front of the field. Baudin it is, who has the honour of wearing bib number 1, 37th in the sprint. He will definitely do better than that today. But they will have watched the junior 20k yesterday, won in stunning style by Norway's Jørgen Nordhagen, a time of 47.35. These guys should beat that comfortably, but how is this one going to be raced? Nordhagen did 1 lap of 6. There's Hagen Busch. He's going lightweight, and he's going to hope to add to the bronze medal that he took in the sprint 2 days ago. Gieselman of Sweden, we've seen him on the World Cup a few times, also seen him in the Youth Olympics. He's done 4 Junior World Championships, I think, now, so certainly the occasion will not faze him. He's wearing bib number 5 and just did the qualifying run in the sprint, didn't get involved in the knockout phases. He is not a fast twitch athlete as such. So by my clock, they should be underway any second. Baudin, Mjuk, Hagenbusch on the front row, all of them favoured to get in the medals today, and you can just see the soft snow coming out with a field slightly reduced from yesterday. We had an incredible field of 99 yesterday, and today just slightly less. So, but still enough to do a fair amount of damage to the tracks on the very first round. 77 start as opposed to 99. Obviously a great advantage to be starting up the front. Always interesting to see who's going to take the place. Edvard Sandvik of Norway, who we saw in the World Cups in Trondheim earlier on in the year. Didn't do too badly, and he didn't do too badly in Whistler last year. Finished 8th in the 10-kilometre freestyle. That was a time trial event. This is a very, very different ball game. One, you have to know what tactics to play, and two, you certainly have to be able to ski efficiently in a big group. Is that number 18 there? I think that's Alessandro Cicchetti. He's a huge man, and he is struggling to ski in his own rhythm. Watch out for him. He's wearing, he's got bib 18. The Italian's in a dark, dark blue suit this year. Number one is Baudin. Another athlete who we've seen on the World Cup. He's actually currently 54th in the World Cup rankings, which isn't bad at all. Steady pace. Similar scenario to the one we had yesterday. It was a cruise for the first 3.3k. Nordhagen, I don't know whether he did it intentionally, but he made his break out of sight of the camera. I think we were all taken by surprise, because when we picked him up, he was so far ahead, there was no one else to be seen. I thought he'd fallen over and had dropped back, and then suddenly up comes the caption that he's 30 seconds ahead of everyone, and he did that in the space of about 4 minutes. So he put in a monumental burst and managed to extend his lead after that. Certainly an exciting women's race. 6 effectively in the race with a kilometre to go, and Marina Kalin of Switzerland coming out on top, 48.58 the winning time. Hayley Brewster, her plan was just to stick in with the group, stay with them, match any moves that were made, and she pretty much did that. She was only 1.3 off the winning time, and with the silver medal. Joe Davis wearing bib number 10 for Great Britain. He's a Canadian Brit, to be honest, and a member of the ski club at Whistler. But I hear he is planning to move across the pond and will base himself in Lillehammer along with the other British skiers like Andy Musgrave and Andrew Young. Baudin still controlling his column. Sandvik leading the other. Well, there's no real area, no real benefit from being from going wider, looking for some firmer snow, because I just don't think there is any there. I think you just take what comes, you try and relax as much as possible, and when the snow is as soft as this, and this is going to be good compared to what we get tomorrow and over the weekend, it is all about keeping the skis flat. We got a bit of a tie-up there, one of the Slovenian athletes, and not sure who he was tangled with, could well have been one of the Swiss athletes. Great crowds they've got bigger and bigger every day, which is great news. The Swiss are here in numbers, and I must say, Switzerland are one team that have been breaking new ground this year. Not just in cross-country, they've managed it in biathlon as well. But I think the cross-country side, finally, the Dario Colonia effect is filtering down. And the fact, really, that thanks to Dario Colonia, the Tour de Ski and other World Cups have taken place in Switzerland over the last decade, more and more. We've been to Lenzerheide with the biathlon, we've been to Goms with the cross-country, and of course generally plays a part in the Tour de Ski as well. Well, that section is in pretty good nick at the moment. I think we might see a few tumbles on that particular part, particularly when the legs start to tire. You can see the stadium behind them now. They've got a little twist. They drop down onto the final bit of the sprint course before coming back up and through the stadium for the first time. Keep an eye on the clock. Nordhagen, I think it was about 7.5 minutes yesterday for the first lap of 3.3k. This is a bit quicker, I think. Down they go, round those trees, just on the top left of your picture, and then they start climbing back up into the stadium. And if it comes down to a sprint, this is going to be the critical part of the course. You have to be in touch going over the top of that climb, and then you've got to work out a way of getting past your opponents on that long round corner. Nice wide tracks as they come back into the stadium. I think it's a sprint that can handle 4 side by side. First time we've seen Martin Kierkeberg-Mjørk. Is it Kierkeberg or is it Kierkeberg? I think it depends on which part of Norway you come from. Albertini for Switzerland, his skiing style a little bit loose, but he's looking relaxed at the moment. Reminds me a bit of Thomas Alsgaard from years gone by, who was absolutely superb, really strong athlete, tall, strong. So red and blue, and I'm glad to say the British with Joe Davis, I think he's up in that lead group as well. Just going through the 3.3 then, first of 6 laps completed. Mjørk with the lead, 7:39, so no quicker in the end than we saw yesterday from the juniors, but things will start to speed up. I do wonder, to be honest, whether Jürgen Nordhagen could have won this race as well as yesterday's. I was half expecting him to be entered in this. Yeah, it was a stunning performance from him. Only 2 seconds separating the top 10 athletes going through that first major split. We'll get another split at around 4.5k, just over the 4.5k mark. Mjørk moving to the front for the first time. Is he going to try exactly what we saw from Nordhagen yesterday? It was on the second loop that Nordhagen made his break, but it was so decisive that no one responded. And by the time they thought about making the chase, it was too late. He was a minute down the road. So it was really unbelievable stuff. Brian Bushy of USA going okay at the moment. Now they start to string out, and you can see some of the tail enders just, they're about 200 metres, 250 metres further back. So it's a very, very similar scenario to the one we saw yesterday. And I wonder whether that has been the brief for the Norwegian team. First lap at below training pace, then once you're warmed, really go for it. But they're sapping conditions, not just the heat and the dehydration, the softness of the track making it really tough. This is a day for those athletes who can ski on a flat ski. You get powerful athletes who are what I call edge skiers, where all the drive comes from putting the ski on an edge. And the harder you drive into this soft snow, the deeper the rut that you build. Mjölk is going okay, but he's not quite as easy on the ski as we saw from Nordhagen yesterday. Nice mix of nationalities: Italy, Japan, Finland, USA, Sweden, Canada, Germany, Czech Republic. That's Pierrick Cotier of Switzerland, 9th in the 10-kilometre out in Whistler last year. What a great venue that was. Of course, Whistler, the host venue for a lot of the Alpine events, the bobsleigh, and of course the cross-country and the biathlon back in 2010, the Vancouver Olympics. I remember going through the airport on arrival. It was welcome to the Summer Olympics. It was even warmer than it is here. Again, major issues getting enough snow and enough good quality snow down onto the tracks. Well, Mjölk is the man that is hurting everyone else. Desloge of France from Villa-de-Lans. He's in second place at the moment, sticking with the Norwegian. And bit by bit, this file is being stretched and stretched and stretched, and it will be like your bit of elastic or a bit of chewing gum. Eventually it is going to snap. The question is, where is it going to snap? Will it be near the front, or will we end up with a group of 20 who can stick with the pace? At the moment there are, well, within the first 5 seconds we've still got over 20 athletes. Truls Gieselman, he did race in the sprint, but didn't do too much, to be honest. Just did that first qualifying round, and we've seen him at the Youth Olympics, getting his moment of fame. Is he possibly going to win this one? I wouldn't bet my house on it, put it that way. Definitely not. But he's looking fairly lively. But it is only the second of 6 laps. Certainly got 20 athletes in there. Love this bit of the course. Not sure, is there an overtaking opportunity? I think it's going to be a risky business. If we have 10 together on the last lap, I think they'll still just wait in line, because if the athlete in front makes a mistake, you really need to be poised to avoid that. Now the pace slows. Gieselman, I think, feeling he's done his bit. 7:39 for the first lap. So, what should that mean? 15:20. 15:20 for 2 laps. I think it should be a little bit quicker than that, but they've still got a way to go before they'll stop the clock. Round the final turn on the course before they face the stadium for the second time. Nothing too severe on this climb. Skate 2, which is the technique where you double pole on both sides, as I'm sure you know. Real opportunity there. This little bit of downhill, we saw unbelievable free skating in the women's under-23 sprint. Sonia Schmidt of Canada coming through to take the gold medal in that. And talking of gold medals, as they come through after 2 laps, 1/3 of the distance completed, and it is going to be just that little bit quicker than 15:20. So, similar time as the first lap, just that fraction quicker, maybe 10 seconds quicker. Oh, that's a rapid section. The race organisation determine where the drinks can be handed out. Ideally, you do it at the top of a downhill, one, so they're not, well, you do it at the top of a climb just before a downhill section, really, so you're going as slow as possible so you can pick the drink up without spilling too much of it. And 2, so you're recovered enough to be able to take the fluid in. And really, you just want, what, 30 mils, something like that, just a couple of sips, and then wait until you get your next drink later on. 8 is Fabrizio Albassini of Switzerland. He did the 20-kilometre freestyle in Goms a few weeks ago. That was the first time that the World Cup Tour has ever been to Goms. It got even worse conditions than they've got today. It was snowing buckets. It was an unbelievable race, particularly the women's, where there was virtually no chance. There was no chance of getting away for more than a couple of minutes because the work rate on the untrodden snow was so high compared to everywhere else that you just had to wait your time and plan some clever strategy for the end of the race. Lap number 3, and Muirk again. This is where he took the lead on the last lap. Don't think he was expecting everyone still to be here at this stage. Well, they are there. Glad to say Joe Davis still in that group, going well, and he'll certainly be hoping for a top 10 today. But it's a long line of athletes behind. I'm not going to try and count them, but I'm going to have a guesstimate. Going through the stadium, before there was any significant gap, we had 24 athletes. Yeah, the stretch, you can push that up to 27. Max Holman of Canada was back in 27th place. He was 12 seconds down on the leader, and then there was another 12-second gap behind him, back to Dirks of Germany, down in 28th place. But by the time we come through, at the end of the 3rd lap, I think we'll be down to less than 15. Hagenbusch at the back of that group, he wasn't looking particularly comfortable, fighting hard. And this is when you want to be skiing easy. Have a look at the body language, have a look at those who are still standing fairly upright. Joe Davis looking good for Great Britain. '29 going through, that was Jan Stolben. This is where you make your name for the future. Whose day is it going to be? Muirk doing the donkey work on the uphill climb. I think Desloge of France will be happy to sit in behind him. 15 is Matthias Holbeck. He's the national Norwegian champion, or he was last year, over 30 kilometers classic, so the distance won't phase him too much. 8 is Albassini of Switzerland. We've seen him before. He won an Alpine Cup in Goms, actually, just a couple of weeks before the World Cup went there. Not sure if that's where he lives. I thought he lived in St-Moritz, actually. Certainly a member of the St-Moritz club. Now, this is where the leaders can start to stretch it out a little, and anyone who goes for a big effort on the next uphill may well find themselves with a decent gap behind them. It's thinning out slowly but surely. Still got those difficult S-bends that lead them down towards the stadium. Switzerland have to be happy with the way things are going. A gold this morning with Marina Kailin. Norway with 2 golds. Canada, Andorra, Switzerland, Italy have all been on the top of the podium already. It is very, very refreshing for the honours to be shared. Now, what are you feeling? Going through the stadium last time, what do we have? 12 seconds separating the top 26 places. The top 26 places. I'm not sure we're going to have more than 15 separated by 12 seconds, but we'll see. Here's the most technical part as far as the downhill is concerned. One of the Swedes losing good ground there. There's the ski flying hill in the background distances. As I mentioned at the head of the programme, it's worth another mention, just in case you joined us late. The ski jumping world record here on a hill that was built, or rebuilt I should say, back in 2015, 253.5 metres, 2.5 lengths of a football field. Absolutely incredible. Stefan Kraft, the man who holds that record. 2 Norwegians, 1 Swiss athlete. 16 is Deslodge from France, who's been looking good, and Carola of Italy is in there. 5 is Gieselman of Sweden, who's still hanging on with that front group, and now a bit of a gap opening up between 6 and 7. That is significant. Now, if they keep the pressure on, we've got a faller on the corner, and that is the worst possible place to fall. Absolutely. Speeds of around 45, 50 kilometers an hour. You lose all the advantage, and to follow the downhill, there's an uphill. I'm not sure who it was, but if they're falling already, by the time they get to laps 5 and 6, the conditions are going to be even harder to contend with. Mathias Holbeck of Norway is still there, 8th in the 10-kilometre freestyle out in Whistler last year, and I think the crowd getting excited. I think they're realising that the medals could well come from these 6. It's going to be a big effort to close that. Remy Baudin of France wearing bib number 1, but he's dropped down into 7th position. Sandvik of Norway struggling a little. We saw him race in Trondheim, looked pretty good there. 20, that's Niccolò Cossini of Italy, followed by Antonin Savary, who was, he was a long way off the pace last year, so I would have been surprised. Hagenbusch in 14th for USA, just ahead of Zorzi. Now, is that the son of Christian Zorzi? I'll have to do some more research. It is quite nice seeing the youngsters coming through. We've got a Skari. We've had a Hjelmset. Zorzi, of course, the number 1 sprinter in Italy prior to Federico Pellegrino, who is now a huge, huge star in Italy. It's a nice shaded part of the course, which is still pretty firm. Certainly there were comments yesterday after the race that it was very difficult to predict how the skis were going to run. Sometimes it was fast, sometimes it was slow. The only person who wasn't sort of vaguely critical about the course was Nordhagen, the winner. He said it was perfect for him, which is exactly the mental attitude that you want going into a race like this. Well, Mjork is keeping the pressure on. Remember, successful at the last 2 World Championships. He won the 10-kilometre free 2 years ago in Linia, and then he won the 10 free again. But as an under-23 athlete, out in Whistler last year, 22:52 was the time for that, which might suggest that we're looking for a time of around 45 minutes. Time through the second lap was 15:21. So that's what, let's say 31 minutes for 4 laps. And let's add the first lap to the end of that. So you'd be excused to thinking that the naturalists had, naturists I think I should call them, had invaded the race. But the Swiss suit, slightly flesh-coloured, and when they're down in the speed position, you do not see the red. It's a fleshy pink. Carolo comes from Borgo San Dalmezzo, which is not far from Monaco, to be honest, just a little bit north of Monaco. Don't want to be south. Well, that is a prolonged break coming from Mürk, and France with Desloge and Albacini of Switzerland have benefited. Holbach was fighting hard, and I think he was above his level for some 5 or 6 minutes trying to stay with those 3 leaders. That could prove expensive to him. The fastest time is always the most consistent effort from start to finish. But in a mass start, you have to try and stay with the leaders. But when you lose touch, and you can see it already from the Norwegian back in 4th place, he's lost his mojo a little bit. The technique, tiny bit ragged. I just can't see him coming back. What he needs is the group behind to catch him, and then maybe they can work together to chase the medal positions. At the moment, it is Norway, France and Switzerland. First 3 laps completed in 22:57. Are we going to see yet more success for the Swiss? Well, they're going very nicely at the moment. Fabrizio Albacini, ranked number 8 in the field. Top 10 in the freestyle race at the Junior World Championships last year. It would be a major achievement if he came through to win this one. Mürk, I think, probably the favourite, wearing 2, but Mürk needs to race clever here. They have made the break thanks to his efforts. He could do with one of the other 2 coming through and doing some of the donkey work. They've got a 50-metre lead, and they will look to their left and see exactly where their nearest challenger is. Norway Sandvik in. He's out of the top 10 at the moment. Holbach is the man in 4th place, or Holbeck. That AE in Norwegian, always a little bit difficult to pronounce. Bjorndalis and the Klabos. Moje posebne disku eden izmed švedskih predstavnikov ali na svetovnem ali na olimpijskem igrah je pobegnil in potem bežal, ampak na koncu mu je uspelo. 7 seconds in that last checkpoint between 3rd and 4th. It's not a massive amount, and this is just what Mürk wanted for Fabrizio Albacini. And Switzerland's and sorry, France's Desloge to do some of the work. where we saw half the field, 99 starters, and only 52 finished. The rest all were lapped. I don't think we're going to see those sort of figures today. We've got a few DNFs and DNSs. Djurkovic of missed his nationality. We'll try and pick up on that in a moment. He's from Serbia. He has been lapped, so we've had one athlete lapped already. We're on the 4th lap. They'll be coming, when they come through the stadium, that will be 13.2, and then they'll have, I was going to say just 2 laps. They will have another 2 laps to complete to take the total up to 6. Is that Albacini's family? They look Swiss. We'll see how they react when he comes through. Now, Albacini has to be smart. The place you want to be is in 3rd. You want as much protection from the wind resistance as possible. And France's, I should say, Matthias Desloge has played a clever game so far. Don't think we've seen him out the front at any stage. A little bit of fluid taken on, just one gulp for him. That's the way to do it, a little and often. This is Matthias Holbeck. Well, if he keeps this going, he's going to finish better than he did last year in the 10 free in Whistler. But there are 1 or 2 chasing him from behind. He's now at 19 seconds, so over the last 2 kilometers he's lost 12 seconds to that leading group of 3. Baudin at 30. The last time we saw him, he was he was at 19, so he's lost 11 seconds between 11.1k and 13.2. Zorzi goes through and now finds himself 58 seconds behind. This is all about fighting for position. Hagenbusch won't be adding to his medals. Joe Davis down in 18.121. Stayed with the group, stayed with the leading group for the first 2 laps. The last 2 have been a little bit of a fight. Yamazaki just behind him. Sabri of Switzerland, Antonin Sabri, I was expecting him to be just a little bit further up. He finished 8th in the Engadin Marathon last year. What an event that is. Good luck to all of you who are training for the Engadin this year. Shouting obviously from the coaches, nothing to do with the leaders. And still Ambacini, well, he's setting the pace and he is pulling the lead group further and further ahead. It's a great effort from him. We will get a split at 14.5. We'll obviously get one at 16.5, which is when they come through the stadium for the last time. Or you could say the penultimate time. And then, of course, the finish, which effectively is at 19.8, just a little bit short of that 20-kilometre mark. Mjørk still looking comfortable for Norway, and he did his fair share of the work early on. The only one of the top 3 who hasn't really offered his hand in there with the leaders is Desloge of France, man from Villain-de-Lans. Well, I wonder how the leader Albacini is feeling. He has been working absolutely maximum. Mjørk looks reasonably comfortable behind him. is Hulbeck, who's done well at 13.2. He had an 11-second lead over those two behind him. It is it coming down? No, it's not. It's up to 12. So Hulbeck is still fighting well. He's in no man's land between the leaders and the chase group. But at the moment he's in 4th position, and should one of the 3 leaders blow up on the final lap or at the end of this penultimate lap, then maybe he'll be able to do something. He's very, very close in terms of the uphill distance, but when he comes to the downhills, the leading group of 3 have long gone. Looks like a big effort coming in from Remy Baudin, number 1. Behind him is Carollo, the best place of the Italians. And then the group behind, I think, being led by Andrea Zorzi. Yeah, Zorzi looking good. That's Niccolo Cusini actually wearing bib number 20. 25 is Zorzi. 23, that's another of the Frenchmen, Gaspard Rousset, who was he got 4th place in the sprint, just missed out on the medals there. What a battle. It goes on. And a very, very different situation to the race we had yesterday with Nordhagen. At this stage of the race, Nordhagen was already a minute and a half clear of everyone. And rather than just sitting on that lead and making it a comfortable finish, I think he decided positively he was going to try and finish with as big a gap as possible. In the end, he pushed it up. He pushed it up to 2 minutes 11. And had he not taken a massive flag over the last 300 metres, I think he could have been closer to 2:20, 2:30. Yeah, it was an impressive performance. Any stumbles? No, they all look good, and as the legs tire, those technical turns become harder and harder and harder. Still, Albacini leading for Switzerland, Muirk of Norway in 2, Desloge of France in 3, and we now have a decent gap all the way back to Hulbeck, who is 20 seconds behind this group of 3. So he's made no impression, Hulbeck, over the last 3.3, over the last lap. Into the stadium for the last time, and the pace looks that little bit quicker. Well, it's good reception from the crowd as the athletes approach. I wonder where your money is with this group of 3. Who is looking best? Well, Muirk, I think, will be happy to sit in there. Just trying to work out which of these athletes is the best sprinter. And I can tell you that Desloge at the back is no slouch over the shorter distance. Seen him looking around, which sometimes is an indication that you're comfortable responding to someone in the crowd. And he still looks fairly well balanced. Albacini, strong and powerful, but is he gliding quite as far as Muirk just behind him? I think Muirk will be very happy to have someone working. Muirk, I would have thought, if he's going to go for this, he may well try and make a break on the climb. That's where his advantage is, and that comes after about 500-600 metres of the final lap. So they're through the stadium, just under the 40-minute mark, 39 minutes on the clock. It is not going to be a quick run here today. The women's race won in 48.58. So much softer this afternoon with the sun beating down on the Planitza tracks that we're not going to be far off that 47 mark. First 5 through the stadium for the final time. Next time it will be to take the finish line, pull back at 33, so another 3 seconds have gone. Bourdin has got a fraction closer. He was 2 seconds. He's 2 seconds closer than he was on the last lap. Now he's got 10 seconds to make up if he wants a shot at the top 4 places. It does look to me as though the medals are going to these 3. There's no obvious sign of weakness, but the next 2 minutes will tell. This is where the climbing starts, and this is surely where someone is going to try and get away. Will they risk it? Will they risk a sprint finish? Well, we thought the same in the 50 kilometre in the World Championships last year. We still had a big group taking the climb before they descended towards the stadium, and it ended up a sprint which really we thought Klæbo was going to take, but he was beaten by probably the second best sprinter in the classic style in the world, Goldberg. Both, of course, from Norway. It was a stunning finish. Everyone's legs still looking pretty lively. Desloge, he has sat at the back for 4 laps now. Sat at the back of this group of 3, and Albertini has done more than his fair share of leading. Has he got anything left? It's a difficult time for him. I think he knows if he steps aside, then they're going to press the accelerator early. So the technical turns coming up now, and then they climb back up to the track on your right-hand side. Now the speed is definitely building, and Mürk has decided to go early. Is he going to try and get away on the downhill section? That's a novel approach. He's certainly upped the pace, and Albertini finds himself an agonising 2 meters or so off the back. He's going to get right on to the heels of Desloge of France if he wants a chance of taking the gold medal here. But it does look as though that gap is leading. Albertini just can't live with it. Mürk is going well. The Frenchman still there, 0.6 of a second behind. That is close enough. It is close enough. And suddenly, dreams of gold turn to bronze. I think that's the best he can hope for. Mürk still looking strong, but he has a Frenchman for company. And wow, which way is this going to go? Mürk, who has taken golds in the last 2 Junior World Championships, and it's Desloge who has made the break. He's gone for the V2. He's benefited from the rest behind the others, and France now looking as though they could get their first gold medal at these Junior World Championships. Mürk has nothing in response. He was the one that went past the Swiss skier Albertini, but already a gap of 20 meters opened up. And France celebrating down in the stadium. They think it's in the bag. Well, it's not quite that close, but it's a very decisive move from Desloge. What a performance from him. "21 years of age, Desloge, as we look at Mathias Holbæk of Norway. Credit to him, he's been on his own for 5 of the 6 loops, well 4.5 of the 6 loops, but he's stuck at his task and he's kept Rémi Bourdin of France at bay. He has not let him get within 10 seconds at any stage of the race. Absolutely incredible effort. It's never nice being chased in that sort of fashion. Well, here's the man, another of the competitors here. We saw him a top 25 place in Goms in the World Cup over the 20-kilometre freestyle. This is the one that he focused on for the season, and he has absolutely destroyed the 10-kilometre champion from Whistler last year. No response from Martin Mürk, nothing he could do about that. The gold medal undoubtedly going to France. And the medalists, instead of entering the stadium together, sadly, a sprint would have been fantastic. But I think Newark knew he wouldn't win it, therefore he had to do something on the big climb. He went early, attacked on a slight downhill, then that led into the uphill section, and he got about halfway up before the Frenchman, Mathis Desloge, came through, said thanks very much for all your effort, and he absolutely left him for dead. Well, the last win for the Frenchman was first week of January, I think it was, over Wiesenthal, when he won an Alpine Cup over a 10-kilometer classic style. And he's going to have a very, very comfortable ski in. Drops down. There's one climb to come after he goes past the summit of this little mound. Now a downhill section for some 20 seconds or so, and if he negotiates this left-hand corner, we've seen a couple of fallers here today, but I haven't seen any sign that tells me that Desloge is going to make a mistake. Safely round, no one else in sight at this stage. Then he looks to his left and he sees Martin Björk, the pre-race favourite, who has been left behind on this occasion. He will have the stadium to himself. One bronze for the French so far in these championships, and that came this morning. Maëlle Weyer with a wonderful run in the women's 20-kilometre under 23. They go two better in the men's. Mathis Desloge takes gold for France, punches the air. That was a fabulous effort. Some would argue he didn't do his share of the work, but it was a clever strategy, a very clever strategy. Match any move made by anyone else, and then conserve until the last half of the last lap. He leaves Mjörk 17 seconds behind in the silver medal position, and Albertini deserves credit. For 2 whole laps, he led the leading 3. It's earned him a medal. It may not be gold, but if you had offered him the bronze this morning, he would have taken it. It was a great, great effort from the Swiss. So Norway, France and Switzerland on the podium, with the French on top on this occasion. And Norway are going to clinch 4th place as well. It's been a hard task for Matthias Holbeck. Great effort. Stuck at the job. Couldn't find the strength to chase down the leaders. In the end, some 59 seconds behind. He was losing about 15 seconds per lap to that leading group of 3. And Rémi Baudin makes it a very, very good day for the French. The man from La Rivière-Drugion, which is near Pontarlier, which has produced a lot of the French cross-country skiers and biathletes, not so far from Geneva, not so far from the Swiss border. So Baudin in 5, 6th position goes to Carolo. He's the best of the Italians today, but only just manages to stay ahead of the 2 Frenchmen, Rousset and Arnaud, in a fight for the finish. Rousset, the man who did so well in the sprint, getting ahead of his teammate on that occasion. The sweet taste of success. Well done to Albertini. Looked solid, and he was the man responsible for dragging that leading group of 3 away from the chasing pack, and he did a remarkably good job. So 13 men finish in that 2-minute 9-second bracket, which was the margin between 1 and 2 yesterday. Nordhagen so far ahead. There's your champion, number 16. Cicchetti. We saw him struggling at the start with the close quarters racing. Long limbs don't help in those sort of situations. Antila of Finland, 16th position. I'm slightly surprised at that. He was in good form. He won the junior 10K freestyle in Whistler last year, ahead of Hagen and Mollestadt. Antila, obviously in his first year as under 23. Joe Davis coming in 18th position, 2:41 behind, had a good battle with Yamazaki of Japan. Couldn't quite catch Hagenbusch of USA, a medalist from the sprint event. That is a hard-earned medal. Very, very tough. Good work from the French. They're having a good week so far. Success in the biathlon World Championships in Novo Mesto, winning the mixed relay there. They got a bronze medal this morning with Vaya, and they've gone and got a gold this afternoon. Hopefully, we'll get a chat with the winner before too long. We've still got a lot of athletes to come in. Going through 11 kilometers, we still had 71 people in the race. So. Yeah, good work from the French. Switzerland with a bronze medal to add to the gold medal that Sandra Schmidt took in the sprint event, the under-23 sprint event. That was astonishing. Absolutely brilliant performance from her, beating the favourites from Norway and Finland in a last 100-metre dash. Well, while we just let things settle down, I'll read you through the programme. We have tomorrow, coming up, the first of the classic races, the juniors getting underway at 9 o'clock. And then the men's race will go at 10:45. Those are UK timings. And then on Saturday, we'll have the under-23 10-kilometre classic. The women going at 10, the men starting at 12, unless the conditions of the course force any changes there. It is due to be pretty damp over the next 3 days, so these guys will soak up the Slovenian sunshine for the next hour or so. Mixed relay on Sunday, of course. That starts pretty early for the juniors, a 9 o'clock start for them, and then 11 o'clock start for the under-23 mixed relay. 2 men, 2 women, just as we see on the World Cup. It's a great format, really exciting, very inclusive, and it does give some of the smaller nations opportunity to shine. Let's hope that happens here. But it's already been refreshing in the variety of medalists that we've seen here in Planica, and especially with France getting their first medal today. Norway pushed their tally of medals up to 6, and they topped the leaderboard, the only nation with 2 golds at the moment. And of course Switzerland getting that bronze medal today to add to the gold they took earlier on in the championships. Finland with 1 bronze. The women's under-23 sprint, I think I'm right in saying. Stern of Slovenia gets a good shout from the local crowd, but he's a long, long way back. It's been a while since the Slovenians have been at the top of the game. Reminded from back in 2010. Scenes out in Whistler, some of you may remember at the Olympic Games, where she skied off the tracks and into a ditch, dropped some 5-6 metres. It was potentially very, very dangerous. I think she actually cracked some ribs, but still came back to race in the sprint the following day. She was made of tough stuff, still is. Doesn't matter where you finish, there's always a sprint to be had. '71, James Slimman from Great Britain. I think that is Jost Mulej he's taking on, and Slimman getting the better of that little duel and securing a place in the top 60, 8:23 on a winning time of 46. That's quite a high percentage off the pace of the leaders, but everyone's struggling. Very soft, very slow snow conditions, and it's very warm as well. So dehydration definitely a factor. Skanyan from Armenia did well not to be lapped, and with each lap taking roughly 7.5 minutes. Winning time, as I say, 46:37. Yesterday, the winning time in the juniors, 47:35. So they bettered that by 58 seconds today. I think yeah, it would have been interesting to see. But I guess we need to remember that second place yesterday was 49:45. Take the average of the top three if you're going to work out your percentages. Cruikshank, Great Britain, across in 60th position, and Volhashku of Romania down in 61st. Well, it looks a very different venue without the stands that were built for the World Championships last year. They would have been on the left-hand side of your picture. The village in the Julian Alps. Over on the west of the valley, they have the, I think it's the Poncha or the Ponsa mountain range. Just under the 2,500 metre point. They've actually got the world's longest zip line here. I'm keen to try that. As we have a look at the results, there's Lodge there. Fantastic gold medal for him. 46:37. Mjøk of Norway, hot favourite at the start of the day. 17 seconds down. Albacini of Switzerland, a second medal for the Swiss here in Slovenia. They'll be happy with that. Holbeck of Norway held on to fourth. Is it the worst place ever to finish? Of course it's not. It's absolutely amazing to finish in fourth. You just don't get a medal. But he has taken some 73 scalps, so he's got to be happy with that. Hagenbusch, bronze medalist from the sprint, down in 17 today, just ahead of Joe Davis, the Canadian Brit who's joined the British team, strengthened it, looking forward to the day that they can put out a world-class relay. They are not far away from it, with Young and Musgrave both going pretty well. Brian Bushy of USA, I had him a little bit higher placed than the top 25. Thought we might see him do something. Utah University ski team. Good work from Bentley Walker-Bruce of Australia, 55th position, and so far only 62 across the line. We did have a few, we had a couple of DNSs and a couple of DNFs and a couple of LPDs, those athletes that have been lapped on the day. Not many, certainly compared to yesterday, where we saw more than half the field taken out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 athletes in the end overtaken by the race leaders, that group of 3. I think that's an acceptable number. There you see the ski jumps in the background, the one at the far side. Now, here's our champion. This is the man we want to talk to, the gold medalist from the men's 20K.
Mathis, congratulations, first title for France today. How do you feel?
A very, very good day because my shape is so good and the condition of skiing is hard, and I think I'm in good shape and it's a very, very amazing day. J'avais des très très bonnes jambes. La piste était bien dure pour moi, j'ai apprécié les conditions et voilà, tout était aligné pour la médaille.
Merci, félicitations.
Merci.
Tu peux y aller. Martin,
He's the silver medalist.
Second today, how do you feel?
Thank you very much. I tried to push hard on the third and fourth lap, but these guys were strong, so they joined me. And then I got a little bit tired, so I had nothing to do when the Frenchman did go fast at the last lap. So I'm quite satisfied with the second.
Kan du gjenta på norsk?
Takk. Jeg prøvde å gå ganske hardt på tredje og fjerde runden. Og så ble jeg litt sliten og stiv etter hvert. Og så klarte de to gutta her å være med, og så hadde jeg dessverre ikke så veldig mye å stille opp når franskmannen rykket på slutten. Takk.
Remarkably easy to understand Norwegian when you've heard the English beforehand. Yeah, Mjok, he certainly did. He did a lot of the donkey work, particularly on the fifth lap, really.
Fabrizio, congratulations, third today. What an amazing race.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was an amazing atmosphere here in Planice. It was so nice to race here. The first round I have to see a little bit how the rhythm was, take a good position, and then in the end I was feeling so good after 3 laps, all the time coming into the stadium as number 2 or 3 or also leading the group. So I had this good feeling, and I know that I have to take this big loop between the 3rd position and the 4th position. So I do it and take the group with me. And in the end it's the bronze medal, and I'm so happy with that. I hadn't accepted it before, so really happy. Ja, es war eine wahnsinnige Atmosphäre hier in Planice. Es war so schön mit all diesen Leuten und mit diesen Verhältnissen, die mir mega gefallen haben. Es hat alles gestimmt heute. Am Anfang musste ich ein bisschen schauen, wie der Rhythmus ist in den ersten Runden. Und dann habe ich gesehen, dass heute mein Tag sein könnte. Ich habe die Gruppe angeführt nach der 3. Runde, weil ich mich so gut gefühlt habe. Und ich habe gewusst, dass ich die Bronzemedaille heimholen will. Und dafür muss ich halt die Lücke zwischen dem 3. und dem 4. Rang auftun. Das habe ich gemacht. Und am Schluss ist der Plan aufgegangen und habe die Bronzemedaille heimgeholt. Und bin mega, mega zufrieden. Ich kann es kaum erwarten, zum Heimgehen und jetzt feiern mit allen.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was interesting, and I don't think it would have been, you will have missed the fact that those who worked hardest in that front group of 3 ended up with the silver and the bronze medal. Desloge of France, clever tactics, just stuck in behind. He let Mjok and he let Albacini do much of the work. They seem to be quite happy with that. So success for France today here in Planitza. Great work from them. And of course that adds to the bronze medal that Maya Vaya got just a little bit earlier on in the women's 20k, which was won by Marina Kalin of Switzerland. So 2 medals for France, 2 for Switzerland, and the USA not missing out on the act. Hayley Brewster getting the silver in the women's under 23 20k. They halve the distance tomorrow. They change from freestyle to classic, the old traditional technique. It's going to be tough because with temperatures hovering around 4-5, getting the wax to work is going to be difficult, and the course will be very, very soft. So congratulations to all those that completed today, particularly to the medalists. Mathis Desloge of France, the gold medalist in the men's 20k. Mjok of Norway, who won the 10k last year, has to settle for silver for Norway. And in 3rd place, Fabrizio Albacini of Switzerland.